welcome to the Spiral Matrix. We are doing some work on energy technology at the moment for the Spiral Matrix. That's the first topic that we're going to be working through and doing clearings on. And Aunty Jude actually sent me a piece on energy technology, well, technology in general, actually, a few years ago. So now feels like a really good time to share it with you. So just a quick little bit of background. She came through for me on the beaches of Byron Bay, actually, some years ago. And so she's reflecting on my experience and my thought processes in my day-to-day life. So I was thinking about energy technologies and trees, and she's reflecting on that. So she says, you had the right thoughts the other day about the trees. You know, about the water in the computer chip that Greg Braden was talking about. You might have seen that video. And how they found that there was no way the chip itself could store the amount of information that it did. So it must be accessing the information from outside itself. It's kind of like the non-human version of the Akashic Records. It's like the field of everything, the field of potential, if you will. And it's everywhere all at once. So just like the trees sending information to each other instantaneously, as soon as you tap into the field, anything that you put into it happens everywhere. So it's that idea, the mechanics of the universe, which you can tap into. She says, I've seen you over the past few months looking at plants in a new way and seeing them as programmed, and that is indeed true. But they're not taking the program from a chip as such. They're extracting it from the field and using it to enable the biology to act in a certain way. The programs for those things exist everywhere all at once. Yes, even for beings that are now extinct. The reason, though, that it's more difficult to bring beings back from extinction is because the snippets of existing biology act as a catalyst. So for plants, you might have a seed that acts as a catalyst or an antenna. So just like those hungry ghosts leave a seed, and for information on hungry ghosts, go to transmission 1. I'll put a link in the description box. So just like those hungry ghosts leave a seed, if you starve them of fear and fill them with love, they act as antenna. The difference is the hungry ghosts exist in the dreaming and they're only enabled through the consciousness of others. Hungry ghosts are a vacuous entity that comes into an existence specifically when land is bought by people that are not custodians of it. So anywhere you have land that's bought, say, by investors and by developers, so it's not occupied by any living beings that are anchoring love into it, you end up with what she describes as a hungry ghost, which is an unconscious vacuum of not energy, and not negative energy, but the absence of energy, just basically a vacuum. So she says, the difference is the hungry ghosts exist in the dreaming and they're only enabled through the consciousness of others. In the plant world, a piece of the plant or the seed acts as a catalyst. It acts like an antenna to draw in that information from the field. But instead of being enabled through people, it's being enabled through other life forms. It's being enabled through earth, through the nutrients, through the microbiome, through the air, through the water, through the sunlight. It draws in the patterning or program from the field in order to make sure that those elements accumulate and aggregate in an appropriate manner. And sometimes things become flawed because the field has become obstructed. If the field is clear, or at least access to it is clear, there's no reason for reproduction to become flawed. And that includes the reproduction of our cells. There's no need for cellular degradation, actually. Cellular death, yes, in a healthy way. Of course, these things will die so that we can be renewed, but there's no reason for that scenario to get out of control in order to create a dis-ease. Cells should be reproducing themselves without flaw. And so it is in the plant world, in the human world, in the animal world, it's so in all the worlds. Any deformation from that program is happening not because of a fault in programming, but a fault in the communication between the catalyst and the programming. So that's why clearing our fields is so important. So thinking about this field in terms of communication, at the moment you're using technology as an interface between you and others, using technology that's disconnected from nature. By harnessing nature and harnessing the programmability of it, which you won't do for some time, but you will do sooner than you think, she's talking to humanity there, not me, is how you will eliminate any barriers between thought and recipient, or between messenger and receiver. And some of those more psychically in tune are already tapping into those kinds of fields. And likewise, you'll learn how to store information in the field. At the moment, you've got hard drives and they're clunky and they keep running out of room, and you need to make them bigger and bigger. They only last for a period of time before they become corrupted, before they become worn out. When you learn how to store and access information in the field, you'll understand that it's always there. You won't need a piece of man-made technology that's separate from it. You'll also find more succinct ways to share your ideas and visions with others. At the moment, your mind, your imagination doesn't have a direct connection with the field. So you need to create all of these steps to be able to translate that information into visions and words and music and things like that using external tools, such as cameras, video programs, paintbrushes, and all sorts of things that you use to get your ideas out into the world and then to share them with others. And those things have a place because there's a certain wonder in the artistry of it. But as far as the non-artistic parts of it go, you won't have to spend your time doing that and becoming the technician. You'll simply be able to express your information into the field and others will be able to access it. But here's the key. In the field, everything is stored. In the field, the ultimate truth is stored. So the ability to spread misinformation will be eliminated because that information simply won't line up with what's in the field already. So you won't be able to lie. And this is the part of the reason you're not ready for this yet. Humanity is still binding itself together and ending its period of duality. And in the duality, the untruths are still shared as forcefully, if not more so than the truth. If you try and force an untruth into the field, it's like trying to put a square plug into a round hole. It just won't work. It won't fit. And you can't mess with it. You can't corrupt it because it's simply the nature of things. So how do GMOs work in all of this? Well, there's a perfect example of the ramifications of working outside the field of truth. You end up creating these things that are corruptible. They're not in line with the laws of nature. Nature has all the tools, nature has all the answers, and they all work within the field. And although the balance may seem to move like a pendulum, finding its extremes, it always brings itself back into balance. It knows how to do this. And people think they know how to do nature better than nature does herself. They've got another thing coming. There are always ramifications. And a person is like a tiny microbe on the arse end of a mosquito deciding to make you its feast. And we know it only takes a fraction of a second to end that little arrangement. So don't think the earth will be so easily overcome to those of you still adhering to the dark side of human nature. You simply won't last very long. And the only reason you have lasted so long, as in hundreds and thousands of years, is because that's been playing out the duality of man. But as you know, that is ending, and so is the reign of darkness. There is nothing that you can do about it. That's just the way it is. End of transmission. So she was talking a bit more about communication technologies, but the idea of the programming inherent in biology, some people have started to touch on that regarding manufacturing, for instance, on how we can work with nature to grow the products around us rather than start with raw materials and smash them together. Starting to grow things to me feels much more collaborative and in tune. And if we can start to learn how to literally communicate with those building blocks, and maybe some people already have, and we just don't know about it. Well, I don't know about it. If that's the case, then we literally can then learn how to grow the world around us with our thoughts. Kind of a cool idea. And because we would be working in the field of truth, we would only be able to create structures that are in line with the highest vision for all sentience, not just people. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. If you could think anything into existence naturally with nature, co-creating with nature, what would it be? Anyway, if you're interested in doing any of the spiral matrix work, we're in February 2024 right now, and we're about to be running the first spiral matrix series of balances. So that will be available on video very soon. And then from there, I'm going to start running weekly sessions, and each week we'll be doing a different topic to work on. So like and subscribe in order to stay tuned with all of that. And go to toni.com, TJONI.com, to keep up to date with any of these unfolding developments and events and offerings. So thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Until next time, my friends, be well and keep dreaming the good dream. Ciao for now.